Who knew all the booty that would just be accomplished since the 90s?
And who knew creating the term booty call could springboard a career, and not just any career, one with purpose.
Once I got that opportunity, I knew I had to represent. Everything had to be indicative that brothers like us can be smart, funny, and actually execute.
And he's been executing since the 90s. But how did 30 years of acting, hosting, and comedy get started? Bill Bellamy, today on The Pulse.
I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, man. I mean, and show up and show out.
I love doing this show because I get to talk to people who I've watched, who I've admired, who I've seen the different things they're doing, their performances. And today, comedian, actor, I was reading his bio, it said trailblazer of MTV in the 90s and inventor of booty call. Listen, that was my favorite part of the bio. The inventor of booty call, Bill Bellamy. How are you, sir?
I'm all the way turned up.
So I got to tell you, one of our producers from outside of the country helps book the show, has an awesome perspective. And she was saying to me as she was doing research, I didn't realize he created the word booty call. And I said, see, you didn't come up in the States in the 90s, because anybody who did, we all know. We're all familiar with the creation of the term, right?
Jokes are like songs, you know, and some songs are timeless. Like this joke is timeless. Like, you know, Eddie Murphy's joke, Goonie Goo Goo. You know, it's just certain things in the pop culture that sticks. Booty call is just one of those things that was so funny to people. They just start saying it's like a famous quote from a movie, you know what I mean? And who knew all the booty that would just be accomplished since the 90s?
And that's why the rest of us know. And thank you for the call. You made a practice common behavior, an acceptable behavior.
Yeah, it made it funny without it being nasty, you know what I mean? That's why, you know, in the early 90s, you had to be creative how you could say something that you could say on television. So that was my way of talking about getting that booty, but you got to make the booty call. Like it literally, and bam, as soon as I said it, everybody starts saying it because it's true.
That's this generation's text message. Like, you up?
Mm-hmm.
That's where that is now.
See, they swiping to the left, to the right. We was really calling.
That almost didn't happen. Because the whole joke and that whole thing, that night when you were performing, they tried to pull you off stage.
Wow, that one move would have kind of changed the trajectory of my career, because the joke that I was going to do, which was booty call, was brand new. And that night they were trying to bump me off the show because Charlie Barnett was on stage and he was literally killing. And it was like, we're going to let him close the show because, you know, this guy, he just totally did such a great job. And I was backstage waiting to go on. I was like, dog, I don't care. Like, just let me do my thing, man. I got something. And he was like, nah, B, it don't make sense. And I was like, dog, look, I came all the way from Jersey, bro, on everything, bro. My car probably gone. I double parked. I got to do this joke. And he, you know, shout out to Andre Brown, you know, he let me go on stage anyway. And HBO was in the building, and the rest is history.
So that night, Russell Simmons was in the building. So that actually kind of launched the Def Comedy Jam, at least for you.
Yeah. It launched a lot of people's careers, because that was sort of like the scouting night of what this culture and hip hop was doing, what comedy was doing in New York. And Russell Simmons was pioneering this movement at this time. And I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, man. I mean, and show up and show out.
Any of us who came up around that era, we remember MTV, we remember the shows. Like, MTV was a cultural phenomenon then.
MTV was the place for cool, for pop culture, and what was next. It was a one-stop shop. You couldn't go nowhere else to get all that in one place. It was like a news station, a radio station, and a place to watch videos.
The MTV thing was comedy, interviews, a little bit of acting, because y'all did skits. Like, it seemed like that may have been kind of the foundation for, you know, the next 30 years now.
It was definitely a springboard for me, because I got a chance to do all the things that my talent was capable of. You know, I can act, I can be funny, I can host a show. I was able to practice my interviews. I got a chance to interview everybody from Michael Jackson to Janet to Kurt Cobain to Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, Destiny's Child. Like, I just want to take people back a little bit because I don't want that era to get lost. You know, I don't want to hear about the 90s 30 years from now. Like, I want people to really understand how prolific the 90s pop culture explosion really was. I mean, like, we were wearing, remember, I don't know how old you were in 92, 93, but we were wearing bright colors. Remember, we was wearing like cross colors,
yeah, man.
FUBU.
Yeah.
You had TLC. We had Leaders of the New School. I mean, it was so much fun. Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott. It was crazy.
Didn't Coca-Cola have like a brand? And we were rocking the Coca-Cola shirts.
Yeah.
You know? There was
exactly
everything,
man. It was
man.
really a fun time, man. I mean, it's definitely worth going back and really being nostalgic.
Yeah, and that's gonna make me pull out pictures or whatnot, wearing my X hat and the overalls with the one strap over the corner.
What? Why do we have the one strap from? I do
I
not
don't know.
I do not know. We were just trying to be cool.
I mean, I blame
no
you.
idea.
Like, you were setting trends at that point. So
I was setting trends. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wearing the oversized clothes.
Right.
I was wearing like 145 pounds, but I had 75 pounds of fabric on. It was crazy.
Coming up, he had a good corporate job, but he gave it all up to pursue his dreams.
I was nervous to make a step like this. I'll be honest with you. I was just very, very nervous to give up a bird in the hand for unlimited possibilities at that time.
I am so tired. I mean, I don't know if I could come out tonight. Yo, come on, how long could it take you to get over here? Well, 5 minutes, I guess. I don't know. Just let me throw something on, okay? I'm coming, all right? Don't play. You coming?
Top billing, your book, your story, not out yet, April of next year. But it digs into a lot of those cultural phenomenons and things that were happening. But it also, like, you were on track to go have that good corporate job before you just stepped away from it.
I got out of college from Rutgers, and I just wanted to get a really good job. I got a great job, and I worked there for like 2 years. And during that course of that time, you know, I was really, really being progressive. I was probably one of very few African-American college grads at this position out of school. So I was really like one of maybe 5 guys that came in on a managerial level and was on a program to progress. Like, so they were really being diverse and trying to like get young, smart people to come into the company at the time. So I really didn't have a bad situation. It was just like I wanted a greater life. I just didn't want to do the corporate thing. It just felt like there was so many ceilings in corporate America as far as creatively. And so I was nervous to make a step like this. I'll be honest with you. I was just very, very nervous to give up a bird in the hand for unlimited possibilities at that time.
You then were opening doors at MTV and in comedy. Did you realize the impact? Did you realize that you were actually opening doors and not just making people laugh and be entertained?
Yes, I did know that because there was nobody that would look like me on MTV. You know, as I was coming in, Ed Lover and Dr. Dre were leaving, so Yo MTV was coming to a close for whatever reason, didn't know why, and so then MTV Jams and Top 20 Countdown, like all this pop culture stuff, just exploded, and you know, our music was able to catch that wave. You know, they were starting to play TLC and Tevin Campbell and SWV. You have Nas and Boyz II Men. Like it was so eclectic, the kind of artists that we were doing. Diggable Planets, cats don't even know about this stuff. And we're going back to Tribe Called Quest, you know, that was that first album, you know, and I was there going, oh my God, man, this is so cool that these artists are blowing up. it was a beautiful situation.
I remember
Yes.
Diggable Planets performed on the quad at George Washington University, just
No
out
way.
there in the middle. And I feel like part of that, we just walking through campus, and you come over to the quad. It was like a homecoming kind of thing, and they performed there. And you guys
Absolutely.
made that type of thing cool. They're performing at beach houses. They're performing and interacting with people. Like, they became accessible because of a lot of what you guys were doing.
And it was purposeful. I didn't know I would become, this sort of like Casey Kasem / Dick Clark of hip hop or whatever. But it was really the timing of my life, being in the right place at the right time and getting a chance to really be the ambassador. And I knew I wanted cats that looked like me to win.
How do you transition that? Because then you kind of did the comedy, you did the hosting, you started taking on some of the, always funny and entertaining, but some of the more serious and impactful roles. You're in a Madam C.J. Walker movie. How do you kind of transition to those types of things?
Well, it's a process, because sometimes people don't know you can do other things, and you have to get the chance or the opportunity to do that and then be ready for the opportunity, right? So I always wanted to be an actor because I was interviewing actors every day, and I was like, damn, I want somebody to interview me. Yeah. Like, these guys are dropping movies every week. I'm interviewing Will Smith for Independence Day, Salma Hayek, Halle Berry, Keanu Reeves and Tom Cruise. I'm interviewing these cats. They pushing these big studio movies. I was like, dog, I got to get in one of these damn movies. You know what I'm saying? And just the ambition of it all. And I didn't know, how to do it. I didn't have a plan. I just knew I wanted to. So just once I painted that picture in my head, I guess just my ambition, foolish ambition, drove me to get to that destination,
When the doors opened for you, you seem to take very seriously what you're presenting, particularly as Black men in these different fields.
It's important that images that we put on screen, I think it's important in what we do and what we say. And so I've always, just been that kind of cat that wanted to represent from not only cats that look like me, but people that came from my kind of background, where I had a tough upbringing. We weren't, it was blue collar family, work hard kind of family, like would stay in a company for 30 years and get a pension. My parents was those type of mom and dad. And so I was just like, I want to break out of this and just like break the mold and do something that's never been done before. And so once I got that opportunity, I knew I had to represent everything. Everything had to represent to me. Like, everything had to be indicative of that it's possible. Everything had to be indicative that, brothers like us can be smart, funny, ambitious, and actually execute. You know what I mean? We can do everything if we put our mind to it.
Next on The Pulse. Now, as a rule, Bill Bellamy doesn't talk politics. But in this case...
Only politics I want to talk about is Herschel Walker. That's it. Every time I see Herschel Walker, I go, a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
But that whale at SeaWorld had killed 9 of the trainers, okay? He is obviously a thug whale, okay? Okay? He don't want to be at SeaWorld. He's swimming around. I wish somebody would get in this water.
All right, so we've talked about kind of some of the background, how we got here, but what here is, at least now, coming to Philadelphia, at the Liacouras Center, doing the We Outside comedy tour with a whole bunch of people. So tell me what's going on.
This tour is really, really a combination of vets from different places and some of the new people, right? So you got me, you got Kid Capri with the music. So, we kind of like that old school hip hop kind of situation. And then you got Tony Rock, he's coming through. You got, who else we got? Michael Blackson, Kelly Kells. It's almost like the Avengers. Everybody's got a little superhero powers. You know what I'm saying?
Is comedy still fun. It feels like that we've had a couple comedians on. People take things really seriously these days. You know, somebody's throwing bottles at people on stage because of things that they said. People want to fight.
That's because every now and then it's just people just get in their feelings. But at the same time, what would we do without comedy? Comedy is the relief for the culture. It's a relief for people that want to come out, have a few cocktails, and just go, "Oh my God, yes, woo!" Because when you laugh really, really hard, you feel good. It releases crazy endorphins. It just makes you feel good. It releases tension from you. You walk out smiling, feeling better than you did walking in. So comedy ain't going nowhere. We're here to do what we've been gifted to do. Philly has been known traditionally for comedy my whole career. I've never had a show in Philly that wasn't to the wall. Because Philly, y'all just like that. I mean, Philly, if they love you to the end. If they hate you, they hate you. That's it. They don't have no in between. See the way y'all was booing Ben Simmons? They had T-shirts, Mr. Softy. I was like, dang, they went and got T-shirts.
Listen, I try to be the nice, respectful guy. Ben Simmons earned what Philadelphia is giving him.
Okay.
He learned all that. I'm not going to talk about challenges people have, the personal stuff or whatever. But in terms of, I mean, this dude out there puffing his chest out when he hits a free throw. Like, you want to shush the crowd after you hit a free throw and then you miss the next three?
See that Philly coming out of you right now.
Years ago, when I read an interview you did, that you said there were a couple things you wouldn't talk about. One of them was you don't want to do politics. Since then, the world kind of changed. And there was a lot of
the only politics I want to talk about is Herschel Walker. That's it. Every time I see Herschel Walker, I go, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I don't understand how he could say, I got to get ready for this erection. And nobody said nothing. Nobody. You ever just say, oh my God, like, oh my God, and you go, oh my God, no, he's not about to. Oh my God. He made me say, oh my God, like 82 times every time they interview him.
See, now you about to get me in trouble. I can't. And
you got to tiptoe. Just let me talk.
I can be canceled. Like, you on tour, you doing your own thing. I can still be canceled. But it got so bad that you were sitting back going, like, I don't even know if I'm supposed to laugh at this because he's
I
serious.
know, because I swear to you, when you watch Herschel Walker, don't it seem like you watching an SNL skit? I was like, nah, that's an actor. No, that's really Herschel. Oh my God.
This is when I expect scrolling across the screen. The opinions expressed by the guests and hosts on this program are not necessarily in line with the ownership and management. Tell us about the book, because we started touching on it just a little bit, but Top Billin' coming out soon.
Hard copy and the audio book will be out in April of 2023. It's called Top Billin'. Same name as my podcast, and it's basically stories of laughter, love, and triumph. My career, my life, things that I went through, things that I had to overcome, things that was just like, oh my God, moments that I never told anybody. So I got an opportunity to do this in the narration, which is really cool. And then when you hear me do it on the audiobook, I think it's just going to transform you into the 90s, you know?
I know my black people. We ain't taking no vaccine because we got our own vaccine. It's called Vicks.
We end every episode of The Pulse with the concept of use your voice for good. Two things I want to ask you. One, I want to ask you what that means to you, but I also have been reading this comedy collective, and one of the trailblazers, Sinbad, has not been doing very well, and you've kind of spoken out about the need for people to be supportive of him and kind of don't forget him.
Well, Sinbad is a perfect example who is a big brother to me in respect to, he was one of the first guys to ever put me on TV, right? And so to me, I said, with all these popular, very successful comedians, we should protect him. Like, we should make sure he is okay and his family is good. Like, let's not let him just be like some comedian that was, we liked and stuff. Like, yo, he's in a fraternity. He has definitely put in his time, and he is a OG in the game, and he has, like what you say, seniority. There's no way that we can sit back and watch, one of our fellow comedians that pioneered and was a trailblazer for us just not get help. I don't care if it's bringing food to the house, if it's, financial or just constantly keeping his name buzzing so we don't forget about him. All of these things can help. Prayer is powerful, right? And a lot of times when people get sick, people forget about you because they don't see you. And now you get depressed and you feel like your value and your imprint isn't there. And I don't want that to happen to Sinbad. He's a great guy.
Bill Bellamy, we appreciate you taking time with us. We appreciate what you've done. We're going to sell out the Liacouras Center so everybody can come get a taste of the We Outside tour, and we'll get that book on the bestseller list. We appreciate you.
Holla. Love you, man. Way to go, Bill. Hey, man, way to keep it clean, Billy. Yeah.
Now we're going to end this interview, and I'm going to, over the loudspeaker, Bill, we need to talk to you about that Herschel Walker segment.
I know.
I love this, and I hope you do as well. Talking to people who have influenced our lives, who have done fun things, who are impactful, who we grew up with, and Bill Bellamy falls into all of those categories. And there is more. If you want the extended version, check out the podcast. It's available all places where you get your podcast. Just subscribe and download. You'll get a notification whenever we've got a new show every Monday. And make sure you join us next time on The Pulse for comedian, actor from Jackass fame, Steve-O. I appreciate you, I thank you, and I leave you as I always do with a reminder that whenever you can, use your voice for good and have a good one.